In the United States in late October, which is when and where I'm recording this, it's the season of costume parties. And whether you're going to a costume party or thinking about going to a costume party or have sworn off costume parties or too old and serious for costume parties, doesn't matter. For the purposes of today's video, you're already in a costume party and you've been in one the whole time. This is the worldview. It's actually a pretty compelling worldview of those who ascribe to the view of non-dualism. Go ahead and look it up on Wiki, get all the details about all the different flavors of it. And, the religions have been doing, religions and philosophers have been doing non-dualism for millennia. Let's just go down the costume party rabbit hole for just a little bit. You're already in a costume party, and it is the best costume party ever. What makes a great costume party? Well, first of all, the costumes are fantastic. They're so good, you can't tell who's underneath it. And people are acting in accord with their costume. You know, somebody shows up as such and such a character, and they are that character. It's amazing. It's an opportunity to just get lost in the fantasy of it all. You can actually start to believe that that person over there is a goblin, or that person over there is a major political figure. In fact, I once went to a Halloween costume party with my date, who was dressed up as a political figure who was unpopular with that group of people who were at that party. This was many years ago. It's not the crop that you are thinking of now. And one member of that party said, "I'm sure you're a lovely person, but as long as you look like that, I'm not going to be able to talk to you tonight." Right? So that's a compelling costume. It's a compelling costume party. The decorations are such that even the non-human part of the costume party is all dressed up in costume. You start to believe that you're actually where the setting of the party is allegedly going to be. You know, maybe you went to one of those parties where there's a whole murder mystery and the host decorated the place so that it is exactly like the place described in the murder mystery. And everybody is there in complete, perfect character and costume. You can hardly tell who the people underneath the costumes are. You just can't tell. It's amazing. And there's a game. The game is, despite all of the overwhelming evidence to the contrary, the game is to remember that you're in a costume party. That's the whole game. And here's how the game is set up. Exactly to the extent that you resist the notion that it's a costume party and that these are merely costumes, and that you are not this character, but whoever's underneath that character, is exactly the extent to which you suffer. So you are rewarded in this game at the Halloween party, or at the costume party, for remembering that you are, in fact, not the person dressed up in the costume, and that nobody else is. And then, in fact, the whole scenery is part of the costume party. The non-dualist would say that is exactly what is going on with reality. I'll give you one example of how some non-dualists in history have described it. The Kashmir Shaivists call the entity that created the party and invited all of us is, in fact, awareness. And awareness is the only thing that there is. That's why it's a non-dual way of thinking of things. There's nothing else. There's only awareness. You don't have to adopt that word. I'm just telling you what this particular tradition goes for. You can say God, you can say reality, you can say the universe, whatever you want to say. In this tradition, it's called awareness. Awareness created a costume party, and there was nobody to invite but awareness's self. So everybody at this party, including you, is really underneath the costume awareness. Awareness is not just underneath the costume of the people attending the party. Awareness dressed up as squirrels in these trees. Awareness dressed up as these trees. Awareness dressed up as this chair I'm sitting in. That's how good a costume party it is. Awareness dressed up as the whole thing. And our job in this costume party is to not forget that we are in costume, that we are awareness in costume. It's really hard not to forget that we are awareness in costume. Well, we look at ourselves and we see this costume. That's very compelling. This very much looks like I'm a nearly 70-year-old white guy sitting in a chair in North Carolina. Boy, that's a compelling costume. And these, for all the world, look like trees. And they're doing what trees do. They're turning color in the fall in North Carolina. Wow, that's a hell of a costume. And people relate to me. People relate to you in your costume, just like that person at the party who couldn't stand my date because of the costume. So people relate to you. They might like you because of your costume. They might not like you because of their costume. And those people have just forgotten who they are. So in their forgetfulness, they are kind of unintentionally enrolling you in your costume. And when I am treated over and over, like by this person, this person, this person, and this person, by the whole culture, like a nearly 70-year-old white male sitting in a chair in North Carolina, it's very hard for me to remember that I am actually awareness dressed up as Ronen. It's a very interesting party we've been invited to. So I invite you to take on that perspective and play with it for a while. Imagine that you woke up today in a costume party, and you've been in this costume party for your whole life. And everybody around you is in this costume party playing the same game with varying levels of success. The people who are suffering, you who are suffering, you've simply forgotten who you are. Your awareness. According to the Kashmir Shaivists, you are awareness dressed up as this person that you thought you were. You just got confused by how great this party is, how compelling the costumes are, and how greatly and how well you've been disguised, and everything else. You are awareness at a costume party, and have always been so. Be well.